So I've been thinking about what it looks like to feel safe again. I know what it feels like to live in a perpetual state of fear, to move through the anxiety of this idea that you're not safe. And so I love looking at the collective energy and what's going on and what's happening in the world and what's happening in my life and the people around me and their lives. Because what's the common message? Like, we're all having these separate experiences, but I promise you they're connected in so many ways. So I'll share. I just came from Miami, taking a trip for like the first traveling trip for Center Stage, where you were flown out and you do this whole activation. And I hate flights. I hate flights. But I've learned how to like kind of breathe through them. But if I'm not going all the time, like I'm in a state of fear and anxiety, I'm breathing through it. I'm not over here having a panic attack, but it feels like at any moment I could have one. And so I went to the event, I enjoyed the event, and then every time I was on the beach, I felt this sense of calm just come over me. The next morning, I laid out on the beach that whole time. Once I left the beach, I started feeling anxious again. And so I had a lot of like conversations with myself about like who taught you that you weren't safe? Like, where was the first place that you learned that you weren't safe? And how do you go back there and grab yourself and remind her like she's safe, like you're good. And it sounds easier said than done, but even a conversation I had with my sisters today brought me back to that of like your first panic attack. What was really the panic? The panic was the realization that I had no control over a lot of things that happen in life. Like, you have no control over a lot of things. And I think about everything that's been happening, like collectively, Spirit canceling their airlines flights. Nobody suspected that. None of us regular people suspected that. The Voting Rights Act, we do have control over because we could have voted the right people in office to ensure that our rights are protected. But the Voting Rights Act being gutted, it feels like you have no control over that. And so now there's a new plan that has to be enacted in order to restabilize what is rightfully ours. And then you have like, I know there are a couple of different spiritual teachers that I follow and they've canceled things. I canceled my trip to Bimini, Bahamas to do a activation with the same group I was doing the activation with. I just didn't have the capacity or the resources to do it, to be like completely honest. And so I'm just noticing everything is getting canceled. There was an event at work we were supposed to do, and we had to call them, reach out to the people, and they were like, oh, it's been canceled. So I'm telling you, I'm hearing all of these things about it's been canceled. It's been canceled. It's been reconfigured. It's been completely taken down. And so for me, I can't help but sit with like, why is everything being canceled? And so it is Taurus season, however you say it. And we just had a full moon in Scorpio. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know a lot about Scorpio's energy. I know it's this, I know it's a very watery, emotional kind of thing. I know that Scorpios like have all these feelings, but they suppress it. And so they may come off as actually like rude, mean, or disconnected, or all these things. And then I think about Taurus's energy, which is very grounding, which is very practical. Like, what actually makes sense? Like, what are you doing that's not actually making sense with the thing that you should be doing? And so I think about all of that energy coming together, and I come back to this idea of stability. And not in a sense, it could be financial for some, but not in a sense of finances, but in a sense of safety. Where do you feel the most safety? Because even when I think about Scorpio, it's a lot of like wavering feelings and emotions, and coming back to this space of like, where do I feel safe? Like, how do I get back to that? How do I get back to knowing that I am safe? That this body right here as it is safe, that I am enough, that I am in the space and I am supposed to be in, and that I have the right authority to make decisions for my life that keep me safe. And I think for a lot of us, we are rebuilding trust in our body. But I think that's what we're doing. We are rebuilding trust with ourselves. We are rebuilding trust with a system that is broken because we don't trust it. And it is time to rebuild it because there is no trust in that space. And when there's no trust in the space, you have to rebuild it. And so I do see all of these things happening. And I do know that at some point this is going to, like, we are going to have to be in harmony again. That is the medicine of nature, is harmony. And so when we find ways to come back into harmony with ourselves, come back into harmony with the space we're in, that's when we can restore safety. And so, yeah, like everything has to fall apart first. Like the tower moment has to happen in order for you to even recognize the spaces that you were not feeling safe in. And so I think about even like quitting my job, my corporate job. And, I knew it wasn't for me. It wasn't necessarily like, I hate this job, I want to go. It was just like, no, my soul, my spirit is calling me to something else. And once I got called to this other space and I started embodying it, like accepting, like we're not doing that anymore, we're doing this. I realized how unsafe I felt in that space. And sometimes you're just going through the motions so you don't notice it. But every space is not safe for us. It's not safe for our soul. And so for me, I've been thinking about, where am I safest? And it's not just my home. It is the environment of home that I was raised in. What that energy sounds like. It's community, it's shared resources, it is company, companionship, it is laughter. We're gonna figure it out, but we're gonna figure it out together. There is a oneness in that energy. And so when I think about the vision that I had when I even started this herbal journey to open a tea shop, I wanted to recreate this space in my home. Like we would lounge around the couch, all laughing, joking, talking, having a good time. And people who didn't live there, door was always open. And people really got to fully be themselves in that space. They got to explore another experience that they may not have had in their own homes. And I know that was one of the things that I was championed to do in this space. And so when I'm thinking about all these other things that I want to do, that people are asking me to do, places I need to be, how I support other people's businesses, I had to ask myself, where is your home? Where is your foundation? What are you building towards? Like, what are you building on? And so for me, it's coming back to that vision. It's coming back to the way that I can contribute to this overall home that we all have, because that's what it all comes back to, is our interconnectedness with everybody else. And so, yeah, what does it look like to know safety again, to feel safe again? Because the powers that be, the people in leadership, all these things are not going to do it. And this is so spot on, because I've been thinking about this for a while. And yes, today I went to church. I don't usually go to church. I haven't been to church in years. The spiritual space I've been in, I've just been open to however God is communicating with me. But I went to church today, and it was about God is with you. When I was in Miami, I kept meeting people named Emmanuel, and then my mom had a story about another Emmanuel, and it was just a whole thing, a lot of synchronicities. And then one of my friends was like, well, you know that Emmanuel means God is with you. And then when I got to church today, that was the message. Because I had a dream seeing myself in church. And so I was like, I guess I need to go to church. And so I went, and that was the message. It was like everywhere I go. And then the energy was kind of like, God is with you. Like, you can't depend on all these other spaces, but God is with you. And so where is my home? My home is when I'm most in alignment with spirit, and like what me and spirit collaborated on, what I was going to be here to do. And so I think that's really what we lean on right now, is where is your like creativity pulling you towards? Where is your, like when you dream at night, where is it pulling you towards? When you have moments of peace, where are you? What are you doing? When you have shared moments of community, what does that look like? And now it's almost like you take all those things and you hodgepodge it together, and then it tells you your next step. Because I think we're always looking for what's next. And so a way to be present and embodied in what is happening now, and also have this idea of next and plan for next without like bogging yourself down with having to be prepared for every little thing, is to be present in the now. But being present in the now means connecting to the heart, connecting to our desires, connecting to what we want. And so for me, like, it's a tea shop. I want a tea shop. I want a space where people can come and connect and have this experience. I want them to feel at home, and I want them to feel safe. I want them to know in this space you are safe. If you need a safe space to go, you come here first. You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I know that I can provide in a space. In my own home, that is a space I try to provide. And so, yeah, I am tasked with doing that on a larger spectrum. And so a lot of us in this space where we can't depend on these places and things that we thought were keeping us safe, the idea is that what has always been keeping you safe, and you need to lean into that. And so when I think about what showed up for me when I was dealing with strong anxiety and all these things that I didn't know how to navigate, girl, I started drinking tea. I started drinking tea, and it was deeper than just having a sip of tea. It was realizing that I'm already well resourced, that I have what I need. And when I, in the spaces where I feel like I don't have what I need, I've got the community who can connect me to it. I've got the spirit that can remind me of who I am. I've got the desire to feel something different, and that's enough to get me moving. Like, I have all of those things. I am well resourced. I can make change in my life. I can restore stability. I can connect to the spirit or my belief system or the people that can help me to restore the soul, like help me to restore alignment and harmony within myself. I can say, hey, wait, this is too much. I need a break. I need a minute. And I can restore that safety again. And so I think a lot of the times we want to lean on teachers and these different wisdom spaces to tell us what to do and who to be and what's right for us and what's not. And we forget to ask ourselves, like, hey, what would make me feel safe? And so I want to challenge you with that is what would make you feel safe? Just ask yourself that. Don't feel the need to have an answer immediately. If you want to write it down, you can start journaling just to see what comes up. Or like just ask yourself and then let the week go by and see what is like continuously coming up. See where your synchronicities are and write them down as they happen, because you'll start to see the patterns and you'll start to learn how God communicates with you. You'll start to see how spirit moves in your presence, in your space, to let you know things. So yeah, how do you restore your safety? I think you need to ask what makes you feel safe. What makes you feel safe? And from there, I think the wisdom will just speak to you. And so here, like, I want to share my home, I want to share my space, but I also want to reflect back to you, like how you are already home with yourself, like how you are home within your body. If you're feeling disconnected from your body, disconnected from the space that you're in, hand over heart, take some deep breaths. So another thing I like to do is put my other hand on my belly. And I just kind of rub my belly. If I'm feeling stressed or if I'm feeling anxious, I will rub my belly. Sometimes I rub my chest. I know I do that when I'm talking. I don't know why, but this calms me when I do that. And so pay attention to the other signals that your body is naturally doing to calm you, because our bodies are always speaking to us. So that's what I want to share this week for synchronicity. I had my tea. I hope you had some tea today, but I really want this to be a space to just like drop in and, you know, see if you can get a synchronicity, see if you can get a nugget from this moment, not to tell you what to do or who to be, but to engage in conversation with spirit, engage in conversation with life. That's what this space is about, because that's what I loved about home, was like we would just be talking about everything, all of these different things. This was a safe space for that topic to come up. And so that's what I want this to be, is just a space for us to engage in conversation. You can share in the comments where you're at or what resonated with you. Or if you have something you already know that makes you feel safe, because even though you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna just keep that to myself, somebody else may need to hear that. That was one of the biggest things that grounded me through any spaces of anxiety, was knowing, like asking people and hearing other people's stories. I'm like, oh, we're all collectively experiencing this. I need to be a part of the collective experience. Me, I need community. That's who I am. I love my space to myself, but who I am at my heart and my soul level is community. I'm meant to be in community. And I think we all are, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, sit with that, respond back, let's have conversation. You know what? I said I wasn't really gonna do cards in here because that's not really what the space is, but I want to do one on the way out, just for us to kind of hold on to and sit with. Y'all seen how I I went to church today without making it a big deal, because I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean for my belief system? Is it time for me to go to church every day? Anxiety. Let's just fact or fiction. Let's stick to the facts or fiction. All right, what's our card that we can hold on to, a message that we can hold on to for this week? Okay, this card is sticking out. Oh my goodness. Celestial alignment. And it literally says that, like, I'm aligned. I'm aligned with where I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna read it to y'all. This is Abiola Abrams' African Goddess Rising Oracle deck. And if you believe in synchronicities, and the cards pop up exactly what we need. So this is High Priestess energy, the element of water. I want to say her name. I wish they had pronunciations on here because I don't want to say her name wrong. But she is the healer of healers. And the teacher of teachers whose love for humanity makes the corn grow. She dwells in foamy waters, but is known as the heavenly princess. As above, so below is celestial alignment. Your natural path is to be in alignment with your own divinity. Doesn't that feel like God is with us? Doesn't that feel like that aligns with the message? No one can take from you what they didn't give you. How do you want to feel? You think often about what you want, but Goddess energy speaks to us in feelings. Where do you feel safe? That's what we talked about. Um, Celestial alignment is being in sync with the energy, feeling, the frequency of the sacred. Everything that you desire is that frequency. Match it with your feelings. That is the energy of the God, Goddess. I am always being guided in the right direction. So trust that.